Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Just a couple of quick thoughts on Einstein and his role in our current understanding of the way things are. So it's about 100 years now that they've been following Einstein's theory of relativity, used to kind of say how it's possible to be a spinning globe and have gravity to make sure that we don't come off. All right, so there you go, that's all he did. He sat around and thought about it. He thought, and he came up with an idea, a theory, and that has been taken as fact. All right, Einstein was a theoretical physicist. Just like all these other theoretical physicists sitting around doing math equations and stuff like that and thinking about how the world might work, or the universe might work. They're mechanics, but have they sussed it out? They say gravity. Well, something makes us stick to things, but how that works, they haven't got a clue. And there's one little contraption that they invented a few hundred years ago with some lead balls on it, which for some weird reason they think that's able to weigh the world. Anyway, the point being is, you see all these people defending science and arguing against flat earthers, saying they're ignorant and they haven't done their research and they don't know what they're talking about, while these people just repeat loads and loads of stuff from books. Most of them trolls, I'm sure. But, well, if Einstein can have a few brain farts and the whole world believes that that's how the universe works because Einstein says so, well, I think 10,000 flat earthers thinking about it seriously can probably come up with a little bit of a better solution than Einstein did. And one other thing, satellites. Satellites. You know, let's just take it on the basic twist of looking at geocentric compared to heliocentric, okay? Forget about the flatness, just to talk about geocentric versus heliocentric. Now, all the stars going around and the moon going around at the same time as the stars and the sun all points to a geocentric system. And again, even Einstein said there's nothing observable, nothing that you can see that will define whether you are in a heliocentric or a geocentric system. Einstein said that himself. Okay, there's nothing he could do to prove which kind of system we were in. But he could come up with some theories and ideas that would help glue a few other ideas and theories together about gravity, based on the assumption that we're on a spinning globe. But he went backwards and forwards with these, and of course we don't hear about at the end, towards the end of his life, how he really wanted to go back on some of the theories he'd put forward. But of course he's most remembered for the ones he eventually tried to disassociate himself from in the end. So, satellites. If we were in a geocentric system, satellites would still be possible. They could still be putting them up there and having them go into whatever vortex or whatever energy is pushing around the sun and the moon. I mean, even if you don't call it gravity, because we don't really know how it works, there is obviously a force of sorts which is making the sun and the moon and the other and planets, or the moons around those planets, spin around each other. Whether the Earth is one of those planets spinning as well is what the whole debate is. Of course, you know, if you can imagine a flat infinite plane and everything else spinning above it, well, there you go. Just because everything else is spinning around us doesn't mean that we are one of the balls in the system. They could be just balls in a system that's above us, the big massive clock in the sky. The stars that stay the same positions over millennia. Okay? So, we've obviously got something up there which is spinning. a vortex, an energy that's spinning things around, like a plug hole or a whirlpool or something like that, okay? So it's quite conceivable that they are sticking satellites and other things like that up into this spinning vortex. So you can still have your satellites on a flat Earth. Now, of course, I don't believe they've got as many as they say they have. Maybe they can do low Earth orbit. The reason I think this is because I've been looking at some independent sky watchers, and they do look out for the satellites. They spot them among the stars because they take time exposures and they see all the stars making their trails, but then they see other dots which match with the locations of geocentric satellites and things like that. So I can accept that there probably still are satellites, but when it comes to GPS and satellite TV, there's just no need. And of course that can be the big scam that only a few people need to be in on with compartmentalization. All they've got to do is say, yes, we put a satellite up there and here's the signal, when they're doing everything from the ground. So that's quite conceivable that they're doing that as far as, you know, the non-important GPS systems to get you down to the shops, or the satellite TV, you know, telephones, etc. Just no need. But of course, those who wish to have power over us would love to have things in the sky, creating a web of surveillance. So I can imagine they're actually doing that. But the funny thing is, isn't it, you know, when the way to spot satellites is to, well, spot which ones are moving in a path. You basically look at the stars and the satellites, they all look the same. So you've got satellites up there supposedly reflecting sunlight, which allows us to see them. Well, what does that make the stars then? If the dots, the white dots in the sky, can just as easily be satellites a few hundred miles up, well, what about the stars? Could they be something similar? Could they be reflecting light? Or are they light sources? Are they just a few hundred miles up as well, just like the satellites? The only way we can tell the difference between stars and satellites is that the stars follow their path and the satellites follow their path, or stick to their geocentric position. Either way, begs a few questions, doesn't it? Over and out.